So whoever hasn't seen me last week, so I'm one of the IB fellows from Brown University here with my colleague as well. I'm in my second year. So I thought it would be a fun presentation to give about Pokemon and infectious disease and the crossover that I think is a crossover. So it's going to be a fun presentation. So feel free to ask anything, say anything, but however you think. I have the financial disclosures. It would be nice if they paid me, but they didn't. So a little bit about Pokemon. So it came out in 1996, so it might be so go with soft.
You probably said we do it.
So that's the theme song. So I'm sure a lot of you like know the show or the games or the cards or the phone app or many other things that has now become a thing. So it's one of the largest like media franchise. It has exceeds over 140 billion in its sales over its 30-year lifespan next month. So the inspiration, that's like the founder. His name is Satoshi Tajiri. He's one who came up with the concept. As a child, he would catch bugs in his neighborhood, and that's kind of became the genesis of catching them all and everything. And the early Pokemon, some of which are like behind him, are kind of themed out for animals, and they still are, but it's getting more esoteric nowadays, depending on how they look. So the first video games came out in 1996 in the spring. The card games came out later that year in like September, and then like the TV show came out in '97, and then there's a whole bunch of stuff that came out, but the slide is only so long. But like the next biggest thing, I guess, worldwide is like Pokemon Go app, which came out in 2016. If you guys remember that, it's still out now, but kind of weighing down in popularity. So there's a day every year called the Pokemon Day. It's February 27th, and this year is going to be big because it's the 30th anniversary. So what are they going to do? I don't know, because I'm not paid by them, so I don't know what they're going to do. But it's going to be big, I hope.
Well, just say that about 1 billion of those 147 billion was my money on Pokemon cards in 1996.
Yeah. And they're worth a lot more if we still have them.
We're getting more games.
Yeah.
We had a meeting.
So the presentation is going to be like, we're going to walk through a little bit about like the competitive side. So I'm like a novice. So it's like, because I have a day job that I can't really put to the side off too much. And then a little bit we'll talk about like the temperature control stuff regarding these. So we're going to go on an adventure on a car ride. So the whole department's going to go through. I find so many people in like the IT department page. So like I kind of put it in everyone's head. And then what? Professor Mendelssohn's hands. It's his first time I'm into every
Oh my God.
Terry's really terrible. And then
Thank you. Thank you. Nice to see a picture of that.
Yeah, just like a floating head. But she's not here today, so start with her. So like the competitive circuit, so I could spend hours talking about this, but I only have 30 minutes. So basically you can do it for fun, or you can do it competitively. The way you play the game doesn't really change either way, just how serious everyone is, which like makes sense, right? So there's a standard rotation of cards. So what that means is like there's other card games like Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering, there's many other things. And the way to keep it fresh and to make them more money is every 2 years a bunch of cards are too old and the last 2 years are then used. So like you have to constantly buy new cards and they're all changing. So that's kind of how they keep things fresh. There's stuff done at the local level, the regional level, the national level, and the international level. So the local level, that's like that's the most fun, uncompetitive part, I suppose. Where you just go on like a local Thursday night, play with your friends. If you win or lose, doesn't matter. There's also like local stuff where you get points, and then regionals, which is like as the name says, like a region. So it's like in like the US, we have one in like the New England area, south, west, north. There's actually one here, which I'll talk about shortly, and then like a national one. Then there's an international ones, and then there's like a world championship ones. So basically, the interest increased after COVID. So prior to COVID, had one event. There was about 500 people plus minus. After COVID, from last year, it had 3,812. So it's gone up in popularity. People say because they're in COVID, they were bored, so they just bought a bunch of cards. I started playing after COVID, so I'm one of them. So there's a Western circuit and a Japanese plus circuit. So like Western is kind of like Europe, Australia, America, South America, everything besides Japan, Thailand, and Taiwan, and the Philippines. So they're like kind of their own, and then everyone else is different. It's a cool thing is like you can travel the world to see the international ones. There's like a big one in like London. There's a lot of stuff in like Australia and Perth on one side, and then Brisbane on the other side. Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, all that stuff. You can get money if you win. You can get more cards if you win. You also get bragging rights, which is more money usually than like the other stuff, because a lot of people have like YouTube's not me, but like then they can monetize on all these other stuff. So one thing is like so for ID week from last year, I wrote down there was 1,500 people. And estimate from last year was 17,000. So we're not at the level of this compared to what we've seen in our normal conferences. So just so everyone's kind of aware of like the size. So there is a tournament here in Johannesburg. So it's not in Cape Town. The last one was in April of last year. In the roster, I didn't see it for this year, but sometimes they do add one late breaker one, I suppose, if you want to call it that, for people who need the extra points and extra money. The playing is kind of not that complicated, but it's kind of complicated in order to explain. So I'm not funded by anything, but like the thing on the top right is called the Battle Academy. It's on Amazon for $15 US, so it's not terribly expensive. And that's the board that comes in that. And it kind of helps you, it tells you where all the cards go. The other side of the board is the same as the one in front of you, so it is like a duplicate. So basically on the bottom right is like where the cards that are used go. The deck that you draw from is here. Then you have a bench we can hold up to 5 Pokemon. Then you have an active spot, which is like your active Pokemon. And then you have your 6 prize cards, which are on the left here. And the 6 is labeled after the game, because when you're playing the game, you only have 6 total on your person. So that's why it's 6. The way you win is that you knock out one of their Pokemon. For every one Pokemon you knock out, you take a prize card. So you knock out 6 things, and you get 6, and then you win. So the first person to get all 6 wins. That's like the main way. The other way is like if they run out of cards before you, then you win as well. Or if they don't have any more Pokemon on the bench after you knock out their active. It's like a deck of 40 cards. When you draw, like you get 7, and then you put the next 6 face down as your prize cards. And then you do heads or tails for like the first or second. Then there's various cards as well. So kind of forget all the words around the card, but like it just means what all the numbers mean. So the main part is like there's Pokemon cards. They're kind of like the mainstay. They're the things that attack. They're the things that you lose and win with. And the thing that's different with Pokemon, compared to like Magic or like anything else, is this like evolution. So like the left is like it's called a basic. The bottom right there is like stage 1, and then the top right is a stage 2. So in order to get to the higher stages, like you need to have the bottom stages. These are not related, but they're just like different cards, and you need to have one where you can do the other. Charizard is like one of like the most popular ones. So if you guys know one, that's probably it as well. And so that's kind of like what you attack with, what you play with. That's your main thing. And to attack, you need like that economy. It's like you need to have an energy card attached to them, which you can only put down 1 per turn. So that's kind of like the rate limiting bottleneck step. And you need to have a red one for this one to attack. And as you can see, each one has different colors and stuff like that. If it's white, they can take any color, but if it's purple, then they need like a purple one. And then in addition to the Pokemon cards, there's something called trainer cards. There's like items which you can play as many as you want per turn. There's like supporter card. These are like one of the more powerful cards if you want to play blunt. And they do various things like drawing a whole bunch of cards, making your opponent do something, and like all that other stuff. This is like a stadium card. This is a card that you can put down and you can use once a turn. And this is like an item card that you like attached, and then this one makes them do extra damage. So you can do extra damage, less damage, stuff like that. And then here's like the energy cards. It's just like a sample. There's about 6 or 7 different energy cards for like every color basically. So these just like what they look like. You can have as many as you want in your deck, but you typically want 10 because you can't do much with them if they don't have anything to like attack it with, right? So you around 10 is how much you have. So like the major strategies, if I had to break down, is like something that attacks fast and heavy, so like a beatdown decks. There's something called like the tempo base where they have kind of go more slow, like more controlled, and then there's something that's like that can be opposite, where you really try to control, like so you don't let them draw, you don't let them attack you, and like all other stuff. And it's kind of like a rock paper scissors, scissor kind of thing, like beatdown beats tempo if it takes too long, but tempo beats control, and control beats beatdown. So it's kind of like the major stuff. So this is like an example photo of a deck that I played with, and just kind of like you can see kind of it's like a 40 card deck. All the Pokemon are like by convention goes on the left side, and then all of like the trainer cards, item, all stuff goes in the middle, and like energy cards goes on the right. And it's a nice little trophy that I have.
Yeah, that's a win.
Exactly. Yeah. So how to win? So typically, like you get like the 6 prize cards, kind of like what I already said. So this is like how do you win? Like, take the 6 prize cards, knock them out, and if they don't have anything to put up front, or make them run out of cards before you do. So here's like a
That makes sense. So sorry, if you go back to that. So just to be clear,
Yeah.
Go back to that the playing field.
Yeah.
So you got all your cards, they got all your cards,
Yeah.
and in the middle is your active Pokemon.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So say you've got Charizard.
Yeah.
And they've got something else. I mean, do they know what they're going to have, or you just pull your first card?
So when you draw, yeah. So everything is face up, so you know what they have.
Okay. So if you put your Charizard there.
Yeah.
And they put something equally Charizard in there.
Yeah.
Okay. And how do you meet?
So you beat them. So like so each card on the top right has an HP. So this one has 70. This Charizard has 330. So you attack, and typically these attacks. So this one will do like 100 damage. So you want to make their HP go down to 0.
Okay.
So
So
that
now
come out.
the Charizard goes to 220.
Yes.
And how many goes do you have to make?
You can attack once per turn.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is it different from top trumps?
What?
Top trumps.
Top trumps.
When you have you've got cards, it's a card game where you basically, each have cards, and then your card says, I don't know, it's depends, I suppose. Trying to work out what would be a good analogy.
Yeah.
I mean, your card might be stronger than their card,
Yeah.
and it's a single card. You both put them down, and if your card's small,
Yeah.
then you get that.
Yeah.
So
So this is different.
if you've only got one turn to
Yeah.
add something.
Yeah. So like it goes me and then you. So in my turn I can attack, but you can't do anything. So if I knock you out, then you put it down, but you didn't do anything with him. And also in Pokemon there's like type advantages. So if you see in the bottom left, it says what they're weak to. So if I attack your Charizard with a green guy, a grass guy, it'll do twice as much damage. So even though like it's not as big and beefy, if I can somehow hit 330 before you even go, I can knock you out before you go. But the reason people like to play like bigger guys is that they're harder to kill. They're also harder to put down because you have a wall every one. So it's like a lot of decks are just like has just like the small guys and just attack many times before the other team can try to evolve to try to knock them out before they evolve.
So if you've got an early phase,
Yeah.
you want to put down something that evolves it.
Yeah.
You've only got one go.
So like you can
Sorry.
put down as many
people.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So it's all this, but so like you can You can put down as
This is
many.
important lifestyle.
Yeah. You can put down as many fun you can per turn that's in your hand. So if I have a Charizard in my hand, I can put it here. I can put down like put one, number two, number three. So you can put as many down as you can. We can't evolve them right away. They have to be down for a turn before you can evolve them.
Okay.
And you can evolve the guys in the back.
Yeah, so we're getting it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. We can talk more after. I would draw my card if I did the interest thing. But yeah, so this is like a tournament. So in the middle picture, I had a circle of a guy with a mask on. And the double-headed arrow looks at like how close the seats are and the tables. Keep that in the back of your mind. So this is like also like from like the same tournament. And the left picture, look at like how many people there are, how close they are, the mask they're wearing or lack thereof. Yeah. And then in the right picture, like the circles like where my hand is touching. So just say that.
I'm sorry, the hat versus no hat. Is there a Pokemon like figure?
I don't know. I don't like hats in my head. Like
it's American.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the ID spin is infection control. So before COVID, there was no infection control really in terms of this. During the COVID period, they banned like in-person events, so there was also online, if it makes sense. And then after the post, they mandated vaccination for everybody, and mandated masks as well. But now that we're a couple years away, it's like there's no mandatory vaccination and it's optional masking as well. So look at this picture. Any infection control things anyone sees? I don't know. Maybe I already mentioned them or not. But... Yeah, very close to each other. No mask. Yeah. Yeah, touching a lot of things. Airflow, you mean?
Yeah.
They're not really. There's like open doors, like all the like I am on the side.
But is there air? That's then.
There's air conditioning. Probably. Otherwise it'd be very hot. But
What is that? Yes.
yeah. No, I think that's like air conditioner. Yeah, the toilets are in the corner. Yeah.
Air conditioner sucking something up. Okay.
Yeah.
That's not where Pikachu should.
Yeah, so just like you guys said, everyone's close together, optional masking. There's mutual touching of cards, tables, everything else. Depending on the event, there's international travel. There's children there, teenagers obviously, and adults of varying ages. There's only like a few bathrooms, which is always like a contentious thing. Hygiene level is varying depending on the participant. There's one option. And the table arrangements kind of like, as you can see, is there. And then event airflow, we like talked about there as well. So I don't really know this, but I guess it makes sense. But like the WHO Health Organization has a definition of mass gatherings, which is like concentration of people at a certain place for a certain reason for a set amount of time. That can strain the community of the resources and hospital system, healthcare system. So major examples is the Hajj in the Saudi Arabia, usually around 2 million people a year. There's something else in India, Kumbh Mela, which also has 100 million. There's music festivals, various sizes, conferences like the ID ones. The Olympics, but also natural disasters, wars, conflicts, technically also fit this as well. So the one example, and this is a picture that I took when I went a couple years ago, actually. So like there, they like respiratory infections are the most prevalent, about 50 to 90%. Of them, the viral causes are rhinovirus, non-COVID, coronavirus, influenza A, and then like bacterial causes are influenza, Monophilus, Staph aureus, strep pneumo. Next is GI, which goes from 1 to like about a quarter, with usually Salmonella, E. coli. When people are there, interestingly, the paper noted that people take antibiotics before they go, and then while they're there. So then when someone does get sick, from there, it's usually like a resistant organism, because they were azithromycin or amoxiclav or something else. In the 2000s, they had a meningococcal outbreak, Serorouge W135. So it's mandatory now to get the meningococcal vaccine before you go, which has actually helped a lot. About 45 to 60% of people are on antibiotics, like the resource said. Obvious. So obviously the event differs on the population. So typically, like music festivals, it'll be like younger crowd, increased drug use, alcohol use, which has different infection implications than the older population. Like the high has it's a lot of older individuals, like different comorbidities, heart issues, lung issues, liver issues as well. So different risk factor for a different group, but doesn't mean there's no risk either. So a short list is so like there was the International Dog Show in Slovenia in 2014. There was 44 cases of measles in England and Wales. In 2016, there was 50 cases of measles. There was a case of influenza at a Winter Olympics in Salt Lake City. In the 2012 Olympics, there were 47 cases of new STIs. So
despite the 3 million condoms in the Olympic Village.
None of them are syphilis though.
None of the STIs were
Yeah, that's true. Like, where were they from? Like, in terms of their countries. And what sport maybe too. So a few stuff I can find about Pokemon specific things, right? So
How many condoms do they give out on the spectrum?
I don't know. I can tell that. They canceled the in-person tournaments during the pandemic. When I was going through their handbook, I wanted to be thorough. They said the participants are required to have a socially acceptable level of hygiene. Take that with whatever you think that means. There is no mention of any vaccinations now. Since there's typically one food court, so like food court illnesses are concerned because there's one place, there's a lot of people, they can only cook the burgers so quickly. The mandatory COVID vaccination policy was dropped in 2022. And initially, there was a paper about Pokemon Go and arboviruses. Apparently, there was an increase in arboviral infections in those playing Pokemon Go. I guess makes sense if you're walking around outside more often, you're gonna be bitten more often. So there's a few similarities between Pokemon and ID. So there's pattern recognition. In Pokemon, it's about like if someone plays these cards, you can usually surmise it's like this strategy, this approach, this pace, whatever. And then in ID, like what's like the fever pattern look like, what's like the rash look like, what's the travel, exposure, to kind of like pattern recognition. Risk benefit analysis in terms of Pokemon, like do you want to put this card down now? Do you want to attack now? Do you want to do it too soon? Because like, what if they have something to counteract you? Whereas in like the ID side, like do you want to treat now? Is it an infection at all? Like the concern of like increasing resistance depending on like how sick they are. Resource management, there's only 40 cards in the deck, so when you make the deck, you have to you can't cover everything, so you have to think about what to put in. Resource management and ID, there's only so much antibiotics, so many echoes that you can do, so many blood culture bottles you have. Probabilistic thinking, like what's the chance that they have this card? Do they think these cards? How many more do they have? How much time do I have left? And then for like probabilistic thinking, also like what's like the pre-test probability, post-test the probability of infection, bacteremia, whatever else, and then adaptation. Like someone might play a card that's normally not played in the deck, and you're like, oh dang, I was ready for this, so now you gotta like think on the fly. And then same thing like ID. They start someone on ceftriaxone, they get worse than you do now, or they get better, but you don't know why, so you have to like adjust your thinking. So those are the major stuff that I thought is overlapping. So now we're done with the road trip, and we have a trophy at the bottom. Because we won.